Hi there, and welcome to my review for Coco. So Coco is a new movie by Pixar Studios, who are basically the greatest American animated studios from the last 20 years. They've churned out so many masterpieces, the Toy Story series, and then films like WALL-E, Up, The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc. They have a very, very strong track record. But they've obviously kind of slacked in the 2010s with some weaker pictures, but now they're back. And Coco is another really strong film by them, although I think it's far from Pixar's very best. Coco comes from director Unkrich, whose previous work was Toy Story 3, and the story basically follows a Mexican boy whose family hates music, but he is a musician. On the day of the dead, he ends up trapped in the afterlife, and then has to get back to the world of the living before the sunrise. Coco is exactly what you'd expect from Pixar. It's full of beautiful visuals, imaginative ideas, and just a whole bunch of good humour. It's gorgeous to look at, it's exciting, and it works with both children and adults. So Coco works for everyone, it's fun and it's delightful, and it has that real charm that Pixar always seems to nail. It's just really, really endearing as a film. It's really funny, it's really enjoyable, and it has a lot of really nice messages about family and about looking after one another and about the power of memory. And as per usual for Pixar, they always manage to tug on the emotional heartstrings, and I think anyone who watches Coco will at some point get a little emotional. Very, very emotional in parts, very moving, very touching, and it has this really sort of fantastical world. It's full of energy and life, and it also has a lot of music, which Pixar famously don't really do much music in their animation. And yet Coco is very music heavy. I mean, its plot is about music, and there's so much music within the film, and the music is all wonderful. It has one of the best original scores of the year and the best original songs of the year, because the songs are all brilliant and charming, and they all sort of fit in with the aesthetic, and they all fit in with the style of the film. So Coco is just wonderful. It's enjoyable from beginning to end. It's very, very funny. It's very, very witty. It has its flaws though. So the first flaw, I think, is that the final act really drags it down. You know, halfway through the picture I was pretty certain this is like a classic animation, and then it just kind of dwindles off. I think part of that is because the twists that unfold are kind of predictable. In fact, some of them are kind of predictable because Pixar has done similar things in other movies. So you kind of know where it's going to go, and maybe it's because it's a kids movie, but basically there's no way that the twists are not kind of obvious in some respects. So when the twists do happen, it kind of drags it down. There's also a pretty obvious good guy, bad guy dynamic, which is fine. It's not badly done, it's just not very interesting either. And once again, the film does have a final few scenes which just kind of labour a point a bit. They don't really go anywhere. So Coco isn't perfect. It's certainly a bit flawed. It certainly has, in the final act, a few missteps. Or a few, not missteps, a few just... It takes what was a really nice story that was simple and elegant, and then just reduced it down to something even simpler, which I didn't really need. It made it inelegant, because then it became just kind of heavy-handed, as opposed to just nice and sweet. But nonetheless, Coco still generally works. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's fun, most importantly. Although I can't really comment on Mexican culture, it does feel like the sort of thing which feels respectful to that culture. It doesn't feel like they're just using it needlessly. It feels like they've really found something to dig into. They looked at the cultural aspects of the Day of the Dead, and they've gone, well, we could make this a film about family. Pixar found something to talk about. They aren't just pointlessly using another culture. So there's things that are strong about it in those regards. It seems like an interesting setting. It's different. You know, there isn't really a film like this from Pixar. Although, having said that, it is a lot of their standard templates from Toy Story and Finding Nemo about people searching for someone else and that kind of thing, or Monsters Inc. where someone ends up in the wrong place. There's a lot of different little things which I kind of things that Pixar have done before. Having said that, Coco is still wonderful. I don't think it's the very best Pixar. I think it's kind of in their second tier of movies that are solid but not masterpieces or anything. I was very tempted to rate this a little higher, but I think I'm going to have to just say Coco's a good film, but a very high good film. So yeah, Coco is pretty damn good. And I'd love to hear what you think about it if you've seen it, so leave me a comment. If you like this review, give it a like. Subscribe if you want to hear more. I post reviews all the time. And if you like what movies I'm watching, you can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd, links in the description. So yeah, Coco, it's a good film.